Hello, I'm Chicken Rice. This is the first voiceover that I've made, so sorry for any mistakes, but I hope you enjoy it. So before I start drawing, I like to go through Pinterest. Like, look at all the pretty girls there, find a reference. So I try not to follow everything exactly, but it's pretty good as a starting point for stuff like pose and the angle of the drawing. After the first sketch, I'll usually go on another layer too, just to clean it up and make everything workable. After I decide where the light goes, or where it's coming from, then I start with the base shading. So I recently learned about this thing called ambient occlusion. I don't really understand it fully, but it's basically pockets of space where the light doesn't reach. And you want to shade those areas extra dark to show that there is a space over there. I do a lot of adjusting along the way with the liquify tool. The liquify tool is my best friend. So I'm starting to shade the face a little bit. I went ahead and adjusted the lighting on the cheek because I think it just looks better. Then I gave her blush. It's not really blush, but it's just color tones of the face, where the middle of the face is usually a bit redder and the bottom is cooler. So I airbrush on red in the middle and blue at the bottom. So here I have my liquify tool again, and it helps me to do plastic surgery to fix the jaw and also the nose. I like to use the liquify tool a lot along the way, so I don't have to be too worried about my sketch looking nice at the start. I'll just do a shitty sketch at the start and then I'll fix stuff later on with the liquify tool. For rendering hair, it's a really long process for me, but I'll try to break it down into a few simple steps. So the first part is to put on the mid-tone shadows. As for the placement of it, if you can imagine the head as a sphere, the line at which the light doesn't hit the head should be where your mid-tone shadows start. Oh, so sorry if the audio is so bad. I'm just like recording this on my iPad and someone's using the blender downstairs, and I think it just started raining. But anyway, after the mid-tone shadows, I start working on the dark tone shadows, and take my advice with a pinch of salt because sometimes I also don't know what I'm doing, but I like to work from the mid-tones to the darker tones. Then I also like to add this desaturated part, which is painted within the mid-tone shadows. I honestly don't know why I do it. I think it just looks nice and I see other artists do it too. And then it's just a matter of rendering the hair, and I can spend hours doing this. But yeah, it's just to make everything look nice and detailed. After I neaten everything up, I like to add some stray hairs, which I'll do later on. I don't think I'm doing it yet. Oh my gosh, it's crazy how much I zoom in and out. I think I spend like half the time drawing, zooming. I think I'm gonna spend the next 3 minutes rendering the hair, 3 minutes of this video, so you can skip to like 7 minutes to see me start on the face, or you can watch me render the hair really slowly. Oh, here's where I start adding the strands. Yeah, they kind of follow the direction of the hair flow, so it looks more natural. But I think it's a really nice touch to make it look like hair. Here I'm just airbrushing on some colors on the overlay mode, just to brighten it up. Okay, so back to the head is a sphere idea. What I'm doing is I am sort of painting the edges to make it darker. If you imagine how you would paint a sphere, you'd make the edges darker to give it that 3D spherical look. Also, I should mention this character belongs to Okuriri on Instagram. We were doing this Secret Santa exchange thing, so I chose this character to do. She recently just showed this character, and she's like this girl in a, I think it's in a zombie apocalypse world kind of situation, and I thought she was so cute. Merry Christmas, by the way. I'm recording it on Christmas Eve and I'll be posting it tomorrow, so it'll be Christmas. Hope everyone enjoys their Christmas. Okay, so I think I'm starting to render the face. I'll usually start with a darker color than the skin, usually more towards the red side. I'll build the eyelids and below the eyes and the shadows that the hair casts. The tip is to observe what other artists do and do the same thing. So see where they put their shadows and see where they put their lights. Okay, so I forgot to mention this just now, but actually what I'm doing is pretty bad, which is that I fully rendered the hair before moving on to the face. And when you render in parts, it basically makes stuff look not so cohesive, but I still do it anyway. Yeah. For the brush that I'm using, it's an oval brush, and I use it on the middle opacity setting. You can see the bar over there. The reason is that I think it gives a more painterly look, and I think it's just more fun to paint with. You can slowly build up the colors on top of each other. For painting the face, I would say a lot of what I learned came from staring at other artists' work and just looking at where they put their shadows, what colors they used, and stuff like that. Like if there's any art that I like that I come across, I just save it onto my iPad. And from time to time I just stare at the art that I really like. So for this part, I think I went back to my old brush, which is this round, really opaque brush, and it's easier for putting colors and shading larger areas like the cheeks. And maybe if you want an even look on the lips, I use that too. Oh yeah, honestly, the brush that you use is not that important. Just go with what you feel comfortable with. When I was rendering this part, I was looking at a reference of a neck area in a similar pose, just so I know what it looks like and where to put my shadows and stuff. Now I start rendering the lower part of the hair. For this part, I think I used the reference again, the previous one that I was using at the start. Just looking at how the hair flows and kind of copying it. Okay, so I'm rendering the hair a lot, but I think actually when it comes to hair, what's important is not how much detail you put into it or how many strands you draw. It's more about the shadows and where you place the shadows. For example, if one lock of hair is overlapping another, you have a shadow there, and that shows the overlap. So the placement of the shadows are important of showing the 3D-ness of the 2D drawing. I hope I'm making sense. Eyes are one of my least favorite parts to paint. I just don't know how people make it look so nice. Like, some people do really sparkly eyes, but some people do really simple eyes, and they all look so nice, but I don't know how to do them well. I think at this point, stuff are looking pretty finished. Oh, actually about the clothes, I forgot to press record while I was rendering the clothes and her bandages, so that part's cut out. I shaded that area of the hair a bit darker. Also about the ambient occlusion thing is where, because that's a cave of space where the light doesn't hit, so when you make it darker you can convey the shape. Now I'm adding highlights to her hair. She has blue highlights in her hair, so I went in with a pretty hard brush. But it didn't look nice, so I deleted that and I went in with an airbrush. Suits it better, I think because all my lines were a bit softer here. The softer shading on the hair suited it better. The rest of the video is just me finishing it up. Added a simple background. it was based off a photograph that I took. I like to do that. Just take photos of random scenery so that I can save them for later on and paste them as backgrounds. I hope this has been useful. I'm really not used to recording my voice and stuff like this, but it was fun. And I hope I can make other tutorials in the future. But thank you for watching.